What's up, y'all? It's me, it's your boy Asmongold, and today we are going to be talking about Warcraft 4. Whenever I got online, I saw an MMO champion. There's a bunch of new stuff on the WoW patch for the PTR 6.2.2. A lot of crazy stuff going on. New mounts, new pets, one storm mount. I'm mad, and you guys know about that, so I figured I'd do a video about that. But then I read about this. Blizzard said that they might consider making new Warcraft, or like pretty much Warcraft 4, after they finish Starcraft 2. Now, you guys might not know. You probably don't play Starcraft. Maybe you do. Okay, so the first Starcraft 2, whenever it came out, it was like Wings of Liberty, I think. So that was like the Terran expansion. There's like 3 factions, the same as like in WoW. There's like Horde and Alliance. There's Terran, and then the first expansion was like the Zerg expansion, Heart of the Swarm, and then this new expansion that's coming out is a Legacy of the Void, which is probably going to be the last expansion for StarCraft, which is going to be the Protoss expansion. Now, guys, this is really, really good, and I'm very happy about this. I'll tell you guys why. Now, I've talked about maybe, hopefully, them making a new Warcraft 4, hopefully after StarCraft, and so me seeing this is really cool for me because I was actually hoping that they would do this exact same thing, and I'll tell you guys why. Now, honestly, there are a lot of things that are real, just straight up fucking limitations to World of Warcraft, and today, like, I read about this, and I was showing this to my mom. I was showing this thing to my mom, and it was this guy who had recreated Elwyn Forest in the Unreal Engine. If you guys don't know what that is, it's a very, very strong, I guess, like engine for developing games and developing virtual worlds. And so this guy had recreated Elwyn Forest in this Unreal Engine, and I looked at it and I just saw it's like it kind of made me feel the way whenever I saw Elwyn Forest in 2006 whenever I was a kid, and I saw it again. It was almost for the first time, and I don't really know. Like, I don't want to just like take his video and put it on here, and so I'm going to have a link on the description, and you guys can check this out because it was amazing. Okay, it was like pretty much like what World of Warcraft would be if it was made in 2014, 2015. It's like Skyrim-esque graphics, and it's really, really incredible. And how this really ties into Warcraft 4 is that I think that at a certain point, World of Warcraft has kind of, it will show its age in certain elements because the engine that World of Warcraft was developed on was a very old engine. It's over 10 years old, of course, because the game is over 10 years old. And so there are certain limitations that game has. One of them is it's a 32-bit system, I believe. And so numbers in that game in World of Warcraft can only go up to, I think it's like 2 billion, like 100 million, and like 800,000, something like that. Well, anyway, it's a very, very high prime number, and it's the highest number that a 32-bit system, I believe, can render and can deal with at the same time, or like at least at one point in time. And so they actually ran into this problem with what's his name, Ra-Din. And so what happened with Ra-Din is Ra-Din's health was very, very high, and I don't think Blizzard expected this to happen, but there was a this bubble thing, or it was like an orb that would hit Ra-Din and would make him gain his maximum health, and his health went above that number, and the system just cannot handle it. And so that's why you'd see in a lot of in the Garrosh fight, for example, in Siege of Orgrimmar, you would see his health. That's why it was in so many different phases, and we didn't just get him down I guess all the way down from 0. That's why we had to take him down to 0, and then he'd re-heal, he'd re-heal, we'd re-heal, because that was like a workaround for them having to deal with this limitation with the numbers, and that's why the stat squish was necessary. And a lot of people don't really know that, and it's a very weird thing, and I mean, like, why would you know that? And so that's just one limitation that the World of Warcraft engine does have, and there's no real way for Blizzard to really get around some of these limitations. Another one is that people have complained about only having a 16-slot bag, and for whatever reason, I have no idea why, because I'm not a programmer, I have no fucking idea what I'm talking about, but there's no way for them to increase the bag size, your original bag, to 16 slots. There's no way for them to make it a bigger bag or something like that. I don't know why. It's just such a core element of the coding, and I think that honestly adding a Warcraft 4, and then maybe even, honestly, I know that some of you guys, this might be anathema, but I think that it would be good if they maybe put World of Warcraft on a back burner and let Warcraft 4 tell the story that World of Warcraft hasn't really been able to. There was a bunch of crazy shit that happened in Warcraft 3. Like Arthas had to purge the plague. He turned into the Lich King. What was it? You had to stop, was it Archimon from like getting to the World Tree? I'm trying to remember like all the other crazy stuff that happened in Warcraft 3. Like, I mean, if you guys don't know, like one of the reasons why I'm hyped is like I remember, man, I used to be sitting here, right, not here, but downstairs on like my like computer that has like less processing power than a fucking calculator, because it was like 1998, sitting there playing Warcraft 2 like past my bedtime because it was like 8:30 because I was like 7 years old. Like, I was like crazy into that game, or like 7 or 8. But anyway, I was like so into Warcraft 2, and then Warcraft 3 came out, man. I played that game. I played that game more than I play World of Warcraft. Like, I remember I would do anything just to get online, be playing on Battle.net, be playing that game. I would be playing literally get up, play, go to bed. Okay, that was it. That was all I did, and I loved that game, okay? And I would spend so much time playing. I had so much fun. And so just the idea of Warcraft 4, obviously, you know, it kind of strikes the nostalgia match in my head. And, like, you know, I start thinking about all that stuff, and I'm just, like, really crazy excited. And also, as I said, I think that, you know, if they took a break and they, you know, allowed Warcraft 4, you know, some element of that, and we don't really know if it's Warcraft 4. I mean, honestly, they said that they might consider Warcraft after Starcraft 2 or after the Starcraft franchise or whatever. And so, honestly, a lot of this is just speculation, but it's very hopeful speculation because I think it's something that does really need to happen. I do think that World of Warcraft does need some sort of a just massive graphics engine, everything overhaul. Is just kind of a reset button because there's been 5 expansions. There's going to be 6 expansions. There's obviously probably going to be 7. I mean, there's just too much stuff going on in the game, too many things that people are attached to, and it would be good just to, you know, clear the entire board and remake Azeroth anew, in maybe, you know, with a bunch of new stuff in the game and new characters and everything like that. One of the big problems that I found in World of Warcraft is that they haven't really done a very good job introducing and dealing with the characters, and a lot of the characters that are in the game that people are really attached to have been characters that were introduced and that occurred in Warcraft 2 and also mainly in Warcraft 3 and the Frozen Throne, which is the expansion. And so if they could just take a break, you know, on World of Warcraft, or not really take a break, but focus on building a Warcraft 4 and allowing like the events in Warcraft 4 to try and transition World of Warcraft from Warcraft 4 and then into like a World of Warcraft 2, that would be amazing. And I know that like a lot of people are like attached to like the things, but honestly, whenever I saw that video of, you know, what Elwynn Forest, what Westfall could be, what it could be if they redid everything, wow. I mean, honestly, I think that would just be incredible. And so I really want to talk to you guys about this. Obviously, I'm really hyped up about it. I think that this would be really, really cool. Do I think it's going to happen? I don't really know. I honestly don't really think so, and there's a lot of concerns with it and everything else like that, but I really do think that something like that does have to happen, like a massive, like, you know, like whenever you like flip the board and Risk, whenever you lose, or something that just completely clears the board and, you know, like really kind of starts everything off on a clean slate and just starts everybody back at level 1 and, you know, moving forward. And obviously there'd probably be some kind of way to carry over like some of your character's achievements or something like that. But man, like I really do think that there's something that does need to happen because, you know, the game does start showing its age in a certain way in terms of combat and a lot of other things. Even if like just the basic example that I gave you guys of like the number cruncher in the game can't go above, you know, like basically 2.1 billion. And so that's a huge limitation among many other things, and you know, it allowed them to re-optimize the system and do everything like that. And I know that, as I said, I know that people are attached to like, you know, how things were and everything, and so am I. But I do think that in order to, you know, in order to move on, you do have to evolve and you do have to change. And I think this is one thing that I would consider probably a necessary evolution for the game to undergo. And it would also allow Warcraft 4 to really transition the story. I think that in a lot of ways, the story of World of Warcraft has stagnated. And I mean, like Worlds of Draenor really didn't do much for the story. It basically resurrected Gul'dan. That was pretty much the only thing that really happened. And, you know, Cataclysm didn't really do a whole lot in terms of the different characters. Deathwing is dead, but Deathwing never really played a part in the story anyway. And then, what's the one in between? Mists of Pandaria, right? Mists of Pandaria just basically killed Garrosh, and outside of that, there's nothing else that really occurred in the story that had any real meaningful effect outside of Pandaria. And so I do think that, you know, if if they do add a Warcraft 4, they could, make some really good character development and, like really move the story forward and, kind of just move the game and the franchise itself, altogether forward. I think that that's going to be pretty much the only way that they can really ultimately save World of Warcraft, because the game will, I think that Legion, the new expansion, will, kind of like renew a lot of people's interest in the game. But at the end of the day, it's still the old thing. And I know that a lot of people really enjoy that. And there are tons of people, millions of people who do. But in order for them to, I think, take that next step, they do have to, make a new engine, and really, really kind of take a big risk. But I think that that would really be the coolest and the most exciting thing to see happen. And so, guys, I want to know what you guys think. I really do, because basically I've been sitting here all day thinking about this, and like, am I just like an idiot that's thinking this? Because they said it's a possibility, right? They said it's a possibility, and that's what really kind of excited me. Is it just that they're saying that it's a possibility probably means a lot. And so I just hope that something does happen to really advance the story and to really kind of re-innovate and reinvent the entire Warcraft world and franchise and everything. And that would just be really, really incredible. And with Starcraft 2 probably coming to a close, with Legacy of the Void probably, I can see that there's definitely a gap there with their RTS, I guess, like fan base that could go into Warcraft Warcraft 4. I don't know what it would be. I don't know how long. What it would it just be like replaying the events in World of Warcraft? I think that some of that would be cool, but I really do think it would be better if they also move the story forward in a real meaningful way. I think Legion's going to be doing that, especially with, like, kind of, as I said, clearing the board with a lot of the different faction leaders. I think a lot of faction leaders are going to die, and important people are going to die, and hopefully more important people will come and take their place. And so hopefully, I do hope that stuff is going to happen. And so I do want to hear what you guys think. I want to hear what you guys think about this whole thing, because, man, like, I'm excited. I'm actually even more excited to play Warcraft than thinking about Warcraft 4. Like, I know it sounds stupid, but I do. And also, like, guys, again, I'm going to leave the links to that Unreal Engine, Elwyn Forest, and Westfall video. Oh my god, it looks incredible. And so I just so you guys can see what's possible, what is possible. And so anyway, that's pretty much all I got. I just wanted to share this idea that I've had, and not really idea, idea in a way, but this thing here and these things I've been thinking about with Warcraft 4 and World of Warcraft and everything. That would be so cool. And so again, let me know what you guys think. But that's pretty much all I got. So thanks for watching, and like, comment, subscribe.